Is anybody able to hear what I'm saying? And if you are you able to type into the chat? All right, looks like we got a couple participants in the chat. Oh, awesome. Sweet. Cool. All right, well, hanging out for like maybe 20, 30 minutes to answer some questions. So feel free to enter them into the chat and we'll get started. And if you haven't done this before, usually I do it with just audio. So I'm experimenting here on YouTube with video also. But basically just ask questions, coding questions, career questions, anything with web development topic, anything like that. And I will try and answer them. So I had somebody just tell me on Discord that they don't have permission. I don't know what that means. I'm waiting to get a screenshot from them to see what's going on there. Also, for those of you that can hear me, how's the audio? Because I don't have a monitor to tell me the audio level. So if I need to, I can place the mic further away. Just let me know. Oh, good. All right. So let's see there. Somebody's asking me to do a real-time project. I think he or she may be talking about the real-time notifications. I had posted a note about that, I think, in the community wall a couple days ago. But I'm going to make a tutorial for that soon. I'll probably do it live because I hate I hate editing tutorials. So if this format works out, I'll probably do it live. I have to get OBS working to share my screen, and I was just messing with it right now, and it was kind of laggy, so I got to work on that. But right now, I'm just using the webcam for the Q&A session. Streamlabs. Someone was telling me about Streamlabs for streaming PUBG Lite, but I think they're on PC, which from the looks of it, PC is a little bit better for streaming, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. I'm gonna try to figure it out. So I have, it's my daughter throwing a fit. I have just regular OBS, and I don't know. I mean, there's some solutions out there that you can, yeah, I'm on Mac, that you can pay for, but I'd rather not pay if I don't have to because I'm cheap. So we'll see. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm getting blown up on Discord right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close it here in a second. Okay. Buffer and encoding. Yeah, I think that's what all it's going to take. I just need to run some tests on the bit rate and encoding. Yeah. Now I'm asking you questions. Exactly. How do I make this work? That's funny. Gotta give some to get some. So hopefully we'll get some coding questions in here. Not that I'm not enjoying talking to you, but I guess the whole point of this is to answer some coding questions. Looks like you're the only participant in the live chat. We've got 5 other viewers, but they're not in the live chat. So also, if you're having difficulty messaging me on the YouTube live chat, then just message me on Discord with your question and I can answer there. Haven't been coding. What's wrong, man? Why aren't you coding? I mean, not that you have to, but are you trying to learn to code for a job, or do you already have a job, or you kind of dropped out of school? Did you or didn't you? You were looking for a job and then you found one and then got into 3D modeling. What was the job in, if you don't mind my asking? Okay. Yeah, 3D what are you using for the 3D modeling? I guess this is a good time to plug my website. I'm almost positive I have some gaming programming courses. I think they're in C#. Operated tech courses.com. So if you haven't seen it already, which you probably have, been around for a while, that's my course that has, or my website that has a bunch of courses listed. And Blender or Maya, that's cool. And you look on there and then filter it down to gaming. I'm pretty sure it's probably I'll look at it in a second. I'll look at it right now, actually. We can look at it together. And now's the time to buy it because everything's on sale today, depending on your location. So it's the complete C# Unity Developer 2D. Learn how to make games. So it might be a good place to start. I don't know if you're using Blender and Maya, you might be doing some 3D stuff, but it could be a good place to start. Otherwise, I would just look up like which languages are best to learn and use in terms of working with whatever type of 3D modeling that you're doing, and just go from there. All right, so Joshua, what course would you recommend for problem solving and algorithms? Again, see, this is why I need the screen share. But Josh, if you click on that top-rated techcourses.com, you'll see that I have a handful listed there. If you just click on algos and DS, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them that I have listed. Course, Colt Steele, 4.7 rating. His is one of the highest rating. That last one on there, data structures and algorithms with an exclamation mark, has a 4.8. But I want to say that your best bet is just to look at these, read the reviews, see what people are saying about them, and then of course with anything Udemy related, if they have a deal going on, maybe take advantage of the deal for the 2 or 3 that you think are going to be the best, and then just spend like a week on each one, and then just make sure to return the ones that you don't want to keep. You have 30 days, of course, to do that and get your money back. And as long as you don't do that like with tons and tons of courses, I don't think, honestly, I don't know their policy there, but essentially you should be able to return as many courses as you want without them giving you trouble, unless they think you're like gaming the system. So when you host your domain and web host package on an external host, how do you set up Node? So like if you want to host a website like Yelp Camp and it can run 24/7. Good question, Ordo. Give me a second. I'm gonna go get a little link for some web hosting that I shared like yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. And while I'm looking for that, there's a lot of different options out there for web hosting with Node. The link that I'm about to share with you in a minute, I'll have to go find it in a second. But anyway, the link is to A2 hosting. It's cheap, and they allow you to host Node on there. Of course, if you're taking Web Developer Bootcamp, then at the end of the course, you'll learn how to host your website with Heroku, which is really nice because it's just a couple commands. You can follow some really simple documentation and tutorials and upload your website really quickly. And then they give you a domain name, so you don't have to worry about the domain unless you want a custom domain, in which case that is fairly easy to set up as well. In fact, that link up there, topratedtechcourses.com, is hosted on Heroku, and it has a custom domain. And it took me like a couple hours to set up. So not even a couple hours. The hosting portion of it took me like maybe 30 minutes. And so hosting, I would say Heroku if you don't know anything about hosts, but if you want to challenge yourself and get into like learning how to set up your own host and connect over, SSH, then I would recommend something like DigitalOcean or A2 hosting. And if you stick around for a minute and give me a chance, I'll get you a link for A2 hosting. It'll be an affiliate link, so I can make a little bit of money if you end up going in that direction. No pressure there, obviously. Okay, people are saying Python or C++. Is that for gaming? It's probably true, or for 3D modeling with programming. I think either of those would be a good choice. Python's amazing. It's super versatile, and for sure C++ is good too. I just don't have any experience with it. Hey, Jorge. Glad you can hear me. Awesome. Welcome. Let's see. Okay. Ordo's question is it possible to upload all the files on a FTP? So, yeah, FTP is kind of it's file transfer protocol. It's what you would typically do if you're just uploading, say, static files, maybe some PHP files or something, to like a shared hosting website. That's a really common way of getting your files up to the server. But when you get into stuff like Node, you're dealing with the server itself, like with SSH. And what that means is you open up a terminal window and you make an SSH connection between your computer and that server that is the web host. And once you open up that connection, then, or tunnel, whatever you want to call it, then you, from your terminal, you have access to that server. And so you can move stuff from your computer to that server. You can create stuff manually, just like you would on your own computer. And so you don't really need FTP because you can do it really quickly with SSH. So when you're dealing with Node, personally, I would prefer to work with SSH. But FTP is an option for most web servers out there. So if you're more comfortable using something like FileZilla, then that's definitely something to look into. But I would say the sooner you get comfortable with using SSH, the better, because it's more of a programmatic way of getting access to the server, but also kind of maintaining the use of your terminal knowledge, and it's really just a lot easier to access the files and move them back and forth and do whatever you need to do with the server. Plus, if you're using Git, which you should be, you can very easily just push your code using SSH. With Git, you can make an SSH connection or an HTTPS connection. But it's a really quick way to get codes uploaded. It's using Git. So, yeah, I have a course. I'll just share the name of it here in the chat. It's free. It's only like an hour and a half long. You should be able to go through it in 2 times speed, like literally knock it out in like an hour. You're going to want to make sure you do the exercises and stuff. But it covers like, I want to say like 85 to 90% of everything you'll ever need like all the commands that I use in that course are the commands that I use on a regular basis. There are more commands like rebase and a couple others that people do use. They're a little more advanced, and it's not something that you'll necessarily use on a regular basis. But everything in the course is what you'll need for adding files, committing files, pushing files up to the server. So just getting those files going back and forth between Git and GitHub, or Git and Heroku, Git, DigitalOcean, etc. So everything I just talked about with using like Git and SSH connection as opposed to FTP applies to that course. And at the end of the course, I show you how to connect. I think the course is pretty old. It's like a year old, 2 years old, maybe older than that actually. So we use the original C9. Everything still applies. Like all the commands are still the same. Nothing's changed there. But you can't use the original C9 anymore. But C9 is just a GNU Linux server. So it's the same as like Gorm, or if you're using basically any Unix setup like Mac. Anyway, really straightforward stuff. I think in a week or two, the Udemy is changing it to where you can't ask questions on free courses. That course is super self-explanatory, so you shouldn't need to ask questions. But if you do have questions, the best place to ask them is on Discord. In the you can ask them in the web development server if you want to, or I have a server for DevSprout. I guess let me find that real quick. The invite link. Let me just make it for the. Yeah, so this invite is good for 24 hours, and that'll get you into DevSprout. And then if you take any of my courses, they're all free. But if you take any of them, then you can. Most of the time, I'm available for help. If it's something super complex, then I'm definitely going to want you to pay me for tutoring. But if it's just a quick question about like, hey, how come this isn't working, or I have an error message, and you've done your due diligence and you've Googled it and everything, then I'm always happy to help out. All right, so the next question is, so like if you want to go bigger, you could host it on a VPS. Yeah, so VPS, virtual private server. There's dedicated hosting. You know, sky's the limit when it comes to hosting. That just costs a lot more money. And so typically you'll want to get on a plan. Like for instance, the plan I use for top rated tech courses is with Heroku. And once you like hit those upper limits, then they tell you like, hey, you're going over, you should probably upgrade. It's really easy to scale from there. So you want to get a service that allows you to scale really easily, or just upgrade in the event that you need it. But if you don't need it, you know, it's not really like a better to need it, or whatever the phrase is, have it and not need it, and need it and not have it, something like that. But that doesn't really apply here, because you just want to use the bare minimum until you need more. So there's no sense in spending money on something like a VPS if you don't need it at that time. But on that note, a lot of these web hosting services won't allow you to use Node unless you have a VPS. So it's kind of a gotcha. And some of the VPSs are affordable, but it's like, it might be worth your while to look into some of these hosting services like A2 Hosting, because they're going to be more affordable than, I don't know, GoDaddy and Bluehost when it comes to being able to configure Node.js, which takes a little more setup. And then of course, the alternate option is just to go with a service that already has all the stuff done behind the scenes for you. It's really simple, and that would be like Heroku, but it will cost you a couple more dollars per month. Okay, so yeah, no problem. Always happy to answer questions. Y'all give me like 2 seconds. I'm going to try and look up this A2 hosting link and see if I can share it with you. I've heard really good things about A2 hosting, and that's why I recommend them. The one of the bigger things is that obviously they host Node, which is good, and they host MongoDB, which is good, but they also are an independent company. So a lot of these hosting companies that you see out here are actually just derivatives of something like GoDaddy, you know, these like big powerhouse corporations. And so it's nice to get a company that's independent, because they're more transparent. And typically they're really striving to do good by the customer. So you can count on them for good customer service and to give you what you need to get you going. So that's my affiliate link. I think legally I have to say that it's an affiliate link. And you can check it out and see what they have available. And who knows, maybe I'll do, once I get OBS set up and I get the ability to see my actual computer screen on the live streaming, then maybe I'll do like a session where I create an A2 hosting account and I show people how to host their Node applications there. So your question is, I could combine 2 servers if you buy VPS. I could host a website and other platforms for software because web developing is not my only focus. Yeah, that's true. You know, depending on how big it is, you can do pretty much whatever you want. And think about it this way, like whatever you can do on your local computer, you can do on a VPS, as long as you have the correct access. And if you have SSH, then you're good to go. And so if you wanted to have an HTTP server for your website, and then maybe a second process that handles background jobs for like sending emails and doing larger processes that would hang up your HTTP server. And then you could also have a portion of the server dedicated to whatever this other software stuff that you're talking about. And, you know, if it gets too mixed up, then you could always just buy 2 separate servers and do it like that. So I'm at 20 minutes. I'm going to do 10 more minutes of Q&A, and then I got to get out of here. But I appreciate y'all coming on here. I couldn't have this without you asking the questions, so thank you very much. If I had something to give you, I would, but all my courses are already free, so all I can give you are answers. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for putting the links down. Appreciate that. And don't forget, anyone who's here, that Udemy has a sale today. It's going on until tomorrow. And you can find some of the recommended courses on topratedtechcourses.com, which is, just for what it's worth, it's hosted on Heroku. How often do I do these Q&As? Well, I've been trying to figure out a way to communicate and build my audience, communicate with my audience, and then also, of course, increase it. And honestly, like building courses, like it's crazy. Why would I go build a React course? There's like 1,000 of them out there. Like, why would I? There's so many things that are already being done. So it's kind of, to me, it just seems like it's not worth my time. But I think one thing that people can't really get enough of is like live help and answers to questions that they may have, especially if you're self-taught or if you just take a bunch of online courses and you don't have access to an instructor, like quick access, then stuff like this is useful. So in that regard, what I'm trying to say is, moving forward, if this platform works well, I think I'm going to really start moving towards streaming a lot more. And of course, I'll get OBS set up, and I'll be able to do more than just the webcam. You'll be able to see my screen. Maybe we'll build some stuff together. I had been telling a couple of people that I'm thinking about doing a tutorial where I add real-time notifications, push notifications to WebCam. I already have a tutorial for that, but it's kind of like a hacky method, and it doesn't use WebSockets, and it's not scalable, which I detailed at the beginning of the video. But this solution that I would be doing the tutorial on a live stream would be WebSockets and basically super scalable. It comes with a service called Pusher, which they have a free tier that allows you to do, you know, basic stuff. And then, of course, if you want to go more than that, you can pay them. And then a more advanced video in the future, maybe with like Socket.io or something. Yeah, I have a little bit of a following. I think we're at like 17,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is good. There's 4 people watching this right now, so I don't know what percentage of 17,000 that is, pretty low. But I think if I keep this up, that it could definitely turn into a regular thing. So to answer your question, the short answer, how often do I do these? This is the first one. I've done a bunch of audio ones in the past, like maybe like once a month or something on Discord. But I think it's good to have the video and to be able to show people stuff. So hopefully with OBS, I'll be able to do that. And yeah, I'll be doing these like 4 or 5 times a week or more if it becomes popular. Because I don't want to say I got nothing better to do, because I got plenty of work to do. I do a lot of contract work, but in terms of like YouTube and stuff, I'm always looking for new content to make, and I think this could be the avenue for that. So that was a super long-winded answer to your question, but yeah, hopefully I'll do them frequently. Dope. It is dope, isn't it? Yeah, so what are some things that you are interested in seeing in terms of tutorials, or just like while I'm live streaming, what would be compelling content that would encourage you to motivate you to get on here and hang out with me a couple times a week? The other thing is I'll have to record these and upload them, because not everybody, has the free time during the day, depending on what time zone you're in. So I'll probably do the live streams with a couple people during the day, record it, and upload it for everybody to watch, whoever wants to catch up. And then, I don't know, maybe do like one a weekend when people have more free time and more people get on. But yeah, I'm interested to know what kind of content that you all are interested in seeing. So if you have ideas or questions, now's the time. Cool. Live coding from start to end, what you're thinking about when you code. Yeah, cool. Yep. I have some client projects that I might be able to get permission to like live code on those. I'll probably do, I don't know, I may not do that, because there's API keys and stuff that if they get exposed in a live stream, that could be bad. So probably I'll just do projects from scratch, like the push notifications thing. I'll just add it onto a WebCam. And as far as start to end, I don't know, because some of these projects take a really long time, so it might have to be like over the course of several days of streaming to get it done. But I'll try and do smaller projects, like quick tutorials, so they can be done in like 30 minutes to an hour. Because I don't like coding for like without breaks for long periods of time. So I'll like code for 30 minutes. I don't know if most of you are probably familiar with Pomodoro technique, but I'll code for like 25, 30 minutes, and then I'll take like a 5-minute break, and then repeat 2 or 3 cycles, and then take like 15-minute break. And then usually by that time, I'm pretty worn out, so I'll like go for a walk, go eat, stuff like that. So yeah, live coding, that's definitely on the agenda. So look forward to that. And then at that point, if you have like specific topics where you're like, oh, I want to learn about X, Y, and Z, let me know. That way I'm not just like picking stuff out of a hat and be like, oh, I hope you're interested, which I'm sure like most of the stuff I'm going to talk about will be relevant. But if you have suggestions, I'm always open to that. All right, we got 3 minutes. So let's see who's all left in the, oh, it's just you, Joshua. Thanks for hanging out. Everybody else has left the live chat. It's all good. React project would be cool. Yeah, React project would be cool. I learned React from a book like a year or two ago. Well, I learned React from like documentation several years ago, and then I relearned it because I hadn't used it, and then I relearned it again, and I just never used React ever. I'm not really a front end developer. I know all that stuff. I write a lot of stuff with vanilla JavaScript, and sometimes occasionally I'll use jQuery, but I don't work anywhere that requires me to use React or Angular or Vue or anything like that. And none of my clients require it for their specs on their projects. So that would be a challenge, but it could be good for beginners to see how somebody who does have a bit of experience and has been a developer for quite some time picks up a technology like that and like builds something with it, even though they don't use it regularly. So that could be interesting. Could be fun. Could be stressful. But I think that's the important thing is like when you knowing how to, if you run into a bug or something, like knowing how to solve it on the fly is like, that's my thing. With Code Node, that's my thing. It's like, if you run into something, got to have the confidence and the ability to solve it most of the time on your own, especially if you work from home by yourself like I do. You don't always have people, other developers on your team that you can just like look over at the cubicle next to you and be like, hey, how do you solve this? I am a full stack developer, so I do everything, but I don't like, if I were to do React all the time, I would consider myself a front end developer, but I don't. I do mostly back end development with occasional little front end things here and there to make things nice with like Ajax and whatnot. So I would say specialize in back end development right now with Node.js because I use it a lot. I used to use Rails and Ruby a lot, and then I stopped because I didn't have to teach it anymore. And when you don't use it, it's kind of like riding a bike. Like you lose it. Like if I would be looking at the documentation a lot to like remember stuff, the syntax, but the overarching concepts are still there. So that's my timer, but I can stick around for a minute. When you get stuck, it's hard to find an answer. Yeah, that's the definition of getting stuck, really. That's what was difficult for me when I was learning to code originally years and years ago. I was like, I'm going to become a programmer. And so I started doing free online courses, and I would hit an error message and just be like devastated. Like I didn't know how to solve it. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't have a mentor. I found one eventually, and then I eventually took courses and stuff, which was helpful. But so seeing someone like me who now has experience be able to solve stuff might be helpful to you so just show you what goes on in my head, especially if I'm narrating what's going on. So some tips I could share. That'll be the last thing I'll chat about real quick. Oh, wait, there's somebody here with another question. All right, hold up. All right, so what are some tips I could share about getting unstuck when you don't have the right answer? And I have videos on this, so if you go to my YouTube and you check out the career tips and advice playlist, you'll see stuff. Mainly, there's one of me holding a little rubber ducky, and the rubber duck debugging method is fantastic because it's essentially like talking to an inanimate object as if it were another person there. It sounds a little crazy, but you're talking out loud. Basically, you're walking through. You're like, all right, rubber duck. Like, here's the problem. And sometimes just talking out loud like that and explaining the problem, your brain solves it. And it's like, oh, wait a second. Duh, that's what I need to do. And other times it's like an error message that you have no idea what it is, and you have to like Google Stack Overflow and hope that you can find it that way. And then sometimes if you can't find it, the only alternative is to find another way how to do it. So it really just depends on how well the tools that you're using are documented. If you're using something that's really popular, then it's going to have support and documentation. And so you should be able to get help fairly easy on communities, Discord, Stack Overflow, Google, etc. If you're using something that no one else uses and you run into a problem, then you might have to look at a different tool. So I think in the future, as we're doing live code alongs, that you will definitely run into some of those problems, and we will have to solve them together. All right, what Udemy courses can help with understanding Node.js better? So Dark Spork, I've plugged it a couple times now, but you can filter through there and find courses that have have Node.js as like the topic. Most of the web development courses, if you just go under web development, they're all going to teach Node. My Code with Node course, Code with Node, learn by doing, free on Udemy. That'll help you understand Node more, because I take what you've learned in like the web developer bootcamp, and then I say, Okay, Colt showed you how to do it the easy way. Now let me show you how to do it the like kind of the from scratch way, I would say. Um, so yeah, Code Node's a good place to start, especially if you don't want to spend any money, or top rated tech courses if you want to get a good deal. They've got deals today and tomorrow for $12.99, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah. So can you close the door, please? Thank you.
Why is that not aired up?
You got to close it.
Why is that not aired up? Lily, go to the bathroom.
So there's a book. I'd have to look it up, but somebody was telling me about a book they read that really helped them learn Node like from scratch. So if I can find it and you ask me about it on Discord or something in the future, like today or tomorrow, I'll try to find it. Yeah, that was my daughter, by the way. She's curious as to what I'm doing in here. Fanty Banty, what's up? Let's see here. We got 3 people in here now. I'm gonna wrap it up. So if y'all have any questions, ask them now. I'll try to get them answered in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll turn it off. I have a cat too. My cat's in some of my videos. He can be pretty annoying sometimes. And yeah, he's a cute cat though. Thanks, appreciate it. Yep, it does work. Hopefully I can get the screen share working in the next session, so that'll be cool. Well, yeah, no problem. Appreciate y'all coming out and asking questions. Dark Sport, give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can find that book. All right, so the book, there's actually a ton of them. I'm going to share this link with you. But the book that I'm almost certain is the one I was told about is the second one, Node.js in Action. But there's like this guy's got like 10 or 20, 20 books. They're all with Node. So that's if you're a book person. The other thing is just read the documentation and then of course build stuff. But you don't know what you don't know, so it can be difficult to like figure out what you don't know unless you read a book and someone says, "Oh, did you know that Node can do this?" And you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And then you can use it to do that. So, because it's Node's very powerful. I don't use and take advantage of all the different things that are available with Node. I just use what I need, and that's kind of how my learning workflow is I just build stuff and I learn on an as needed basis. So if my client says I need this and I don't know it, then I say, all right, I can do that. Let me just figure it out, and then I go learn it. I'm not necessarily like, oh, I heard React is really good. Everybody's using it. Let me go learn React, because if it's not something, if it's not the tool that I need for the job, then I'm not going to use it. And so if I have a job where, for instance, I'm not very good with PHP. I've never like physically sat down and like tried to learn it, but I've done several client projects with PHP and I just learn it on an as needed basis. Like, okay, well, how do I use PHP to do X, Y, and Z? Just Google it. Okay, that's how I do it. And every time I run into a problem, this isn't working. Okay, I just look up how to do this in PHP. And because I already know Ruby and a little bit of Python and a little bit of Node, or a lot of Node actually, a lot of JavaScript, I can just say how to do whatever it is in JavaScript in PHP. And then there's an equivalent, and that's that. So point being, books are good, documentation is good, tutorials are okay, especially if they're for a specific feature that you need, but don't get stuck in tutorial limbo, basically, where you're just like, where's the next tutorial to help me learn the thing? Because there's not always a tutorial. Sometimes you have to figure it out on your own, and that means reading documentation. So what separates entry-level developers from intermediate level or advanced level, senior level, what have you, developers is people who have to just follow a tutorial for everything. And the moment they don't have a tutorial for whatever it is they need to do, they throw their hands in the air and say, I need this tutorial. Somebody give me this tutorial. And I get that all the time. Students sending me messages like, I need you to show me how to, like, make a course for it, like demanding a course or tutorial. Like, and it's like, sometimes there isn't one and you just have to go figure it out. And a lot of times that means reading the documentation. And that's what gets you up to the next tier in your skill set, learning how to read documentation. And then eventually you may become the person who's writing the software that has the documentation that other people are using. That gets pretty advanced. So it's going on 45 minutes. So that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Really appreciate it. And if you want to help support me, just check out topratedtechcourses.com and take advantage of some of those deals for today and tomorrow. All the courses are $12.99, and of course, you can return them if you don't like them. So full refund within 30 days of purchase on any Udemy courses. And of course, if you want hosting, go check out A2 Hosting. The link is above. That's it. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. I will do the same thing I did this time where I tag everybody on Discord. I know some people hate that, but whatever. And so that way you can be made aware of any future streaming episodes. Later.